Emily from the Ruaka Kids, and right here with me is
Pastor Zablon,
Teacher Carol,
Teacher Kimoto,
and Teacher Caleb.
Welcome to today's Sunday School online service. Today, we're going to begin with a series on the attributes of God. What are attributes, you may be asking? These are the characteristics of God. And to help you be able to know what we're talking about, we're going to use the letters of the alphabet. So today, we start with letter A, which is God is Almighty. This means that God can do anything. Today's story is going to come from Exodus chapter 14, verse 19 to 31. We all know this story. It's about the crossing of the Red Sea.
Stories of the Bible. Moses and the Red Sea. This is Moses, who was an Israelite born in Egypt in a time where Israelite boys were not supposed to live.
Wait, huh?
Moses, however, grew up in the palace of the Pharaoh, the very man who was enslaving the Israelite people. When Moses grew up, he made a big mistake.
Uh-oh.
So Moses ran away from Egypt to the land of Midian. Many years later, God called Moses back to Egypt to rescue his people with the help of his brother Aaron.
Phew.
The Pharaoh did not want to let God's people go, and God showed his power throughout all Egypt by sending plagues. Even with all the suffering, Pharaoh's heart stayed hard, and he would not let the people go. On the night of the last plague, Pharaoh woke up and heard a great cry in Egypt.
Huh?
For there was not an Egyptian house
Oh, no.
in which someone was not dead. Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and told them to leave Egypt with the Israelites. So the Israelites immediately left Egypt and made their way for the Promised Land, taking with them many riches from Egypt. They took Joseph's bones as they had promised him many years before. God led them by a pillar of fire by night and a cloud by day. God told Moses to have the people camp along the shore of the Red Sea.
Okay, got it. We're stopping here.
God told Moses that the Egyptians would come after them, but that God would show his glory and power through this. When word reached Pharaoh that the Israelites had gone, Pharaoh changed his mind and readied his army to take back the Israelites. The Egyptians found the Israelites camped along the shore of the sea. As Pharaoh and his armies came close, the Israelites panicked. They cried out to God and asked Moses, "Why did you bring us out here to die in the wilderness?"
Hey, everyone up.
But Moses told the people, "Don't be afraid. The Lord himself will fight for you. Just stay calm." Then God said to Moses, "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the people to get moving."
All right.
As night came, the pillar of cloud became fire, and it went between the Israelites and the Egyptians. Then Moses raised his hand over the sea, and God opened a path through the water with a strong wind.
Wow.
The wind blew all that night, turning the seabed into dry land.
Come on, are you?
So the people of Israel walked through the middle of the sea on dry ground, with walls of water on each side.
Come on.
Then the Egyptians chased the Israelites into the middle of the sea. But just before dawn, God looked down on the Egyptian army from the pillar of fire and cloud, and he threw their forces into total confusion. "Let's get out of here, away from these Israelites!" The Egyptians shouted, "The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt." When all the Israelites had reached the other side, God said to Moses, "Raise your hand over the sea again."
You got it.
Moses raised his hand over the sea, and the water rushed back into its usual place. The Egyptians tried to escape, but God swept them into the sea. That is how God rescued Israel from the hand of the Egyptians that day. When the people of Israel saw the mighty power that God had shown against the Egyptians, they were amazed. They put their faith in God and in his servant Moses.
As you've seen, God's people, the Israelites, were slaves in Egypt, and God used Moses to save them by leading them out of Egypt. He led them through the desert and even through the sea. As they escaped from Egypt, Pharaoh used his army of the Egyptians to pursue them and chase them. But God gave Moses the ability to split the Red Sea so that they can find safety. He used his staff to divide the sea, and then they found passage into the promised land. As the Egyptians pursued them, God started to close the Red Sea, and all of them drowned. And that's how the Egyptians died and the Israelites were saved by God. Now kids, do you ever feel like you need Jesus to save you from anything? Remember how he saved the Israelites from Egypt. God is almighty. This week's memory verse comes from Psalms chapter 24, verse 10, and it says, "Who is he? This King of glory, the Lord Almighty. He is the King of glory."
It's now time to do our craft. Are you excited? Because I am. What you need is a coloring page, a word search, crayons, and a pencil. Mommy and Daddy will help you get both the coloring page and puzzle. Enjoy!
I hope you enjoyed our first lesson. Don't forget to tune in next Sunday. Bye!